Hey everybody, movie review next door here, and I'm back with another review. This time I saw Darc. This is a 2018 action thriller film directed by Julius R. Nasso, and it stars Tony Schiena, Armand Asante, Sho Ikushima, Don Olivieri, and uh, just a second, Kipe Shina and Tetsu Watanabe. In this film, to bring down a global human trafficking ring, an Interpol agent recruits the help of a brutal criminal with inside knowledge of the Yakuza. So, what did I think of Darc? Well, I heard, again, like every other action movie nowadays, this be described as like John Wick, but with human trafficking, which I love the comparison, as many people who know me would know. Whenever any action movie comes out, they're like, it's John Wick but a woman, it's John Wick but this. This didn't really feel like John Wick. There's like a club fight, but what I would say, I liked it, but it did have quite a few issues that I do need to bring up and address. But let me get at the cast. Tony Schiena plays Darc. As a kid, his mother, who was a prostitute, was killed by this Yakuza guy. This guy, I have like this movie and another movie on my watch list with this guy, who's apparently a former South African intelligence operator turned government defense contractor, and he is the CEO of a company called Mosaic that provides private security. So basically, he's a real life action hero in a way. And I think his acting is okay here. It's not horrible. It's not amazing. There are moments that are supposed to be kind of impactful emotionally that don't 100% hit because of it. There is one that works well, but near the end. But for the most part, you're here for the action, and action-wise, he does a really great job. He kicks a lot of ass. The fight scenes are pretty brutal. Armand Asante plays Lafique. He's a cop who's giving information to these Yakuza people because he wants to get his daughter back, who they have trafficked. Armand Asante's a veteran actor. I think he does pretty fine here. He has a couple of good moments of going a bit over the top. He even gets a pretty fun fight scene. I know, Armand Asante in a fight scene nowadays. Sho Ikushima plays Shigeru Kageyama, who is basically the grandson of the man who killed our main character's mother. He is a standout in this. His acting may not be amazing, but he really goes for it. He hams it the fuck up. And he's definitely the best actor of all of the Japanese cast. Because I'll get to that, but he really just plays this unhinged character so fucking well and is a lot of fun to watch. And yeah, I really enjoyed watching him. Don Olivieri plays Ivy, a next door neighbor of our main character. She's there. Like, I understand what they're trying to do with this character. They're trying to have her be the love interest, but she's really not that great of an actress in this. Maybe it's the direction. Maybe it's because this is a first-time director, but I'll get to that. But yeah, she was Kipe Shina plays Toshi Kageyama, the son of the man who killed our main character's mother. He's okay. He's there. I've seen his name before, mostly because he was in Outrage with Takeshi Kitano, and he was in something with Gary Oldman called Rainfall that I have on my watch list. And Tetsu Watanabe plays Ginzo Kageyama. He's been in a lot of things, mostly Japanese films. His acting in Japanese is fine, but when he speaks English, it sounds really stilted and bad. And that's one of the big issues I have with this movie that isn't exclusive to this movie. The acting from the actors who are not native English speakers is very spotty throughout the entire movie. They go back and forth from speaking Japanese to English to each other, and they'll even speak Japanese to our main character who does speak Japanese back, but it's very confusing when you go between English and Japanese, especially when there's literally a scene that reminded me of the Ninja Turtles movie where you had the Japanese character talking to the other Japanese guy and then he responds in English and then she responds in Japanese. It's freaking weird. And that literally happens in a scene in this, and I was like, why the fuck are you doing that? Just choose Japanese or English. Put subtitles. Also, unless you have a subtitle track, you're not going to understand half of the dialogue in this movie because there aren't hard-coded subtitles for the non-English spoken lines, which I gotta say that's a bit of a fucking issue, guys. Like, there are way lower budget movies than this that do that, so that's definitely an issue. But I do think it does harm the villains a bit because the villains, other than Shoei Kishima's Shigeru, their acting does suffer in a lot of these scenes where they're supposed to be menacing, and it comes off very goofy because they're having a hard time saying the dialogue. They're probably a lot of the Japanese actors in this are probably saying their lines phonetically, and that is especially I hear it from Tetsu Watanabe, who, if you look at his stuff, at his like resume, there's like one movie that is American, and that's Silence, or in English, and I can definitely tell. Um, and I kind of just wish he spoke Japanese the entire thing because his Japanese acting is a lot better. Another issue. This film has some weird audio issues where they'll go from very clearly dialogue recorded on the spot, like with boom mics and shit, and then they'll go to really weird ADR. And I caught a moment of it. I might upload it, but it happened more than once. It happened with Donna Olivieri, and it happened with I can't remember these people's names. Shoei Kishima at one point, and I was like, this is kind of rookie. These are kind of rookie mistakes, and I understand, first time director, but he's a producer that's produced a lot of movies, mostly Steven Seagal wise, and I'll get to that. But yeah, that's another issue with this film. I would say Don Olivieri's character. Now, I saw a lot of people saying that this film was misogynist. They'll say that with any action movie where there's a damsel in distress. She's not really a damsel in distress, but the thing is, her acting doesn't really work that well, and her and our main character getting falling in love. I don't. But yeah, it just kind of felt like they did it because that has to happen in this type of movie. But also, I did notice some really bad sound design, especially in the first scene where our main character and Toshio, or Toshio, Shigeru, the grandson of the guy who killed Darc's mother, follow me? They go into this warehouse to take out these people, and there's one guy that falls, and then there's a really low quality Wilhelm scream that comes in, and it's not blended into the environment at all. And again, I don't think you should use the Wilhelm scream if you're making a serious movie nowadays, because again, that's a very old sound effect, so it's not going to be the highest quality. And two, it's so recognizable that even people who don't listen that hard to stuff like that are going to hear it. So definitely a bit of an issue. But otherwise, the director of this, I do need to talk about this. he is a producer on quite a few Steven Seagal films. I think he produced Fire Down Below, Under Siege 2, and a lot of, I think Glimmerman as well. And I do think that I do think that his direction is fine for the most part. The editing the editing during certain fight scenes was a bit too much, but for the most part it worked well, and I think it worked with the film more often than against it. There's some interesting scene transitions. There's like drugs being poured down a sink, and then it um, goes into like a coffee or something. There's a lot of like those fade cuts and match cuts, and I actually do like that. It made the film look a bit more polished. For the most part, there's some really impressive camera work in this film. Nice dolly shots. You can tell that this film had a decent amount of budget, especially for what this is, which is a bit of a more independent action movie. As for the action scenes, I do think Tony Scana works very well in them. Again, his acting is not the greatest, but you take what you can get. It's not even that it's not the greatest. He's okay. He makes up for a lot of his acting flaws with the action. And yeah, I think he does a great job there. I think he pretty much kills it. For lack of a better term. But yeah, I really wish that more films were not afraid to be as violent as this. There are some pretty fucking gruesome deaths in this. Even just the gunshots, like I think they're using CG. I think they're using blood squibs and CG, because some of the blood squibs don't look amazing, or some of the CG doesn't look amazing. Sometimes the blood's a bit too bright, which tends to happen when you have weird practical effects. But I can still tell that there was some practical to it. Again, $10 million movie, not super high budget. I think the budget's $10 million. That's what I saw. But still, what else? Oh yeah, this film had quite a few things that I didn't expect to go the direction they did. Certain characters die that I was not expecting to die. Certain things happen plot-wise that I was like, oh, that was interesting. So I'll definitely give credit for that. But overall, do I think people should watch this movie? Yes. Do I also think that you should temper your expectations a little bit due to certain issues with the with editing and all this stuff? Yes. Because I'm not going to say, oh, it happened because it's a low budget movie. I don't believe that, but it definitely needed a bit of work in certain ways. I definitely think getting a different director could have helped, even though the editing and direction was fine. But yeah, it's a fun watch if you can find a place to watch it. But that was my review of Darc. If you've seen the film, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. If you have any recommendations, put them down there as well. And movie reviewer next door, out.